pork chain. I will try to explain you how we deal with this production. So first of all, and I'm sorry if you already have those kind of stuff this morning, but okay, so I cannot get the stuff. Okay, sorry. It seems I get some trouble. Okay. Yep. Let's start again. I was at the end of the presentation already. Sorry.
That was a quick one.
Yeah, very quick. Okay, so let's start with the situation. We have to work on antibiotic resistance because it's a world public challenge. You have a very nice study which has been published 2 years ago, which shows that antibiotic resistance is probably one of the main threats of the 21st century. In 2019, this publication estimates that you could have more than 1 million deaths worldwide due to antibiotic resistance, either attributed or either associated with antibiotic resistance. And just to compare, it's a little bit higher than deaths of HIV or deaths linked to paludism. For several years, we started to have some public policy in order to reduce the use of antibiotics. You have on this graph the situation of France for human consumption. So in orange on the top, you have the French consumption of antibiotics and the European one in blue. What we see is that we had a higher consumption than the average of Europe. And you have in the circle some campaign which has been done for the public. And what we see is that the first campaign were quite efficient because we managed a little bit to decrease the consumption of antibiotics. But after, we have quite a stabilization. If we look at antibiotic consumption on different kind of population, we see that on children, for human, we decrease a lot the consumption linked with the campaign of communication. But on adults, we stay quite stable concerning those consumption. In France, consumption of antibiotics for human is 60% of total antibiotic use. So 40% is for a farm animal. In farm animal, we have a complete opposite of trend. We have a very huge decrease of the use of antibiotics. So huge decrease because we were at very high level by the past first, and because you had several policy to work on this subject. So you have here over the last 10 years, let's say, the evolution of exposition to antibiotics for several different kind of farm animals. You see that pigs were quite high, and we managed to decrease it a lot. If we look at the number of days of treatment by different kind of animals, we have the chance in France to have a French National Antibiotics Panel, and IFIP is publishing every 2 to 4 years some new update about this panel. And what we see is that we have a very huge decrease of number of days of treatment, especially on the gray curve over there, concerning the post-weaning piglet, with a decreasing consumption by minus 78% between 2010 and 2019, and between 28% from 2016. If we look now about resistance, we managed to reduce a lot the consumption of antibiotics, but for resistance, we have quite different trend. We see that in humans, so outside hospital or in hospital, we have an increase for several different kind of resistance, of the prevalence of those resistance. We just have over there some resistance to penicillin outside hospital, which decreased a little bit between 2007 and 2017. For farm animals over there, we see the resistance to cephalosporin, and we had a kind of peak by the beginning of 2010, and then it's decreasing also due to the lower exposition of our animals to antibiotics. So in this context, COOPERL decided by the beginning of 2010s years to stop the antibiotics treatment on pigs and to build this antibiotics-free production. I will try to explain you what's the concept of this production for our farmers. If we want to stop antibiotics treatments, it means that we have to reduce the use of antibiotics, but we still have to treat our sick animals if we want to promote animal welfare. So, of course, it's not to say stop everything, it's to say use it only when you get some sick animals. If you start to have some pigs treated and some pigs not treated, it means that you will have to sort treated animals, and that traceability will be very important in the conception of this production. If you want to have good traceability, you really need to incite farmers to declare treatment in order to have a good quality of your traceability. To do that, we decided to give premium according to antibiotics-free production on whole pigs, either if they are treated or not treated. It means that for the farmers, there is no financial impact if he has lots of treatment on the premium he could get on the production. Based on this, it means that we have to select farm which can enter antibiotic-free production, because for a group like COOPERL, we cannot give premium to a farm if you have 75% of pigs which receive antibiotics, of course, because the model cannot be affordable. So it means that we really need to select the farm which can enter this production. For the consumer, the concept is a little bit different, because as soon as you start to sell some antibiotics-free meat, it means that you will have to define this antibiotics-free meat in regard to the standard meat. And of course, you have sometimes a risk to change the meaning of the standard meat, because some consumers, they can have the perception of some stuff about standard meat, and sometimes it's not very real. We had some question about antibiotics residual in meat. So some consumers, they understood if you have antibiotic-free meat, it means that you will have some residuals of antibiotics in standard meat, but of course it's not the case due to the law on antibiotics. You have to explain that you will have a battle against antibiotic resistance in terms of use and exposition to antibiotics. So it's not always easy to make understand also. You have to define what could be a useful treatment. And of course, if you say that you need to have only useful treatment on antibiotics-free meat, consumer can understand that you have unuseful treatment in standard production. So you have to explain that. And then you have to make trust in your traceability for the consumer. All of this, it comes only by communication, explanation, and taking time to make understand the subject to the consumer. If we are looking on the French market of antibiotic-free production, we had a very nice study published by IFIP 2 years ago, which shows that we started, so COOPERL and Carrefour in 2013 by the production of antibiotics-free pigs, and you had some other company which enter this kind of production, and basically up to date you have almost all the company have part of their production under antibiotic-free label. For COOPERL, we have 2.8 million pigs per year, so 831 farms, which are under antibiotic-free after 42 days old, and 293 farms with 1.1 million pigs per year from birth. So it means that around 70% of our production is under antibiotic-free requirement. Of course, if you don't use any antibiotics, you will have a lower exposure to antibiotics, and it's what we see just over there. You have the evolution in pink of the Halea of France, and the same evolution for the farmer which are entering in the antibiotics-free production. So it's quite stable, and it's in 2022 at 0.13 units. For those farmers, of course, the question of their performance was said at the beginning, and what we see on our stats. So you have here quite lots of farms, is that they have higher performance in terms of salt pigs, in terms of global FCR, and in terms of mortality rate. It means that they are able, when they don't use any antibiotics, to reach very high performance. How it works for farmers? Farmers are paid on old pig, so it means that we decided in COOPERL that only farms with entire male production can enter this production. So if you have entire male production, you will have 1.3 cents per kg. Then at 42 days old, we had 2 cents, so in total 3.3 cents per kg. Then from birth, we add again 2 cents, so in total 5.3 cents per kg. And if you use RFID identification, so individual identification of your pigs, you will get 6.3 cents per kg. And what is very important is that all pigs of the farm will get the premium, the treated pigs, the not treated pigs, and the discarded carcass and not discarded carcass. And I will come back on this just after. If we are going to the selection of farms which can enter the production, first, of course, we will assess before entering the production the antibiotic use of the farm. So we require that Halea is under 0.5. We also want that the situation of the farm is not using any antibiotics by injection or by water treatment, and we have indicator concerning the amount of money which are spent on those stuff. So it's minus than €1 per pig for both. And then we want that at least less than 1/3 of batches are 100% treated to enter the antibiotic-free production. Second stuff is to be sure that we have a good animal welfare. So what we will do is we want to have some mortality rate from weaning to slaughterhouse less than 6%, and we will have an animal welfare audit of the farm in order to be sure that animals are in very good position of welfare. What we don't want is that farmers stop to use antibiotics and that they let animal with disease and with a very bad animal welfare. And finally, we will assess the risk factor of antibiotics use by audit of building, audit of biosecurity, and audit of farm management. It's what has been explained by Jean-Noël this morning. If we come back to the animal welfare, what we will do, we will engage the farmers on a way of improvement. So we will identify the starting point, we will define some way of improvement, and then we will help the farmers to better know what could be the best practice to be implemented in his farm in the future in order to improve the global animal welfare in his farm. In total, we have 146 questions on this, and we check if good practices are implemented. We observe animals to assess the welfare, so we check the results, and we will propose some technical and equipment solution if the farmers does not implement the stuff. As soon as farm is entered, then we have the problem of traceability. So we have to sort treated animals. So what we propose to our farmers is this kind of identification. So during lactation, if a pig is treated with antibiotics, we ask the farmers to put one square green tag you just see over there with an individual number for each ear, and we will ask the farmer to implement a ATB tattoo on both shoulders of the pigs. Then, after weaning, we will ask the farmers for each antibiotic treatment to implement or to apply a one circle green tags with an individual number plus the ATB tattoo. It means that when it's arriving at slaughterhouse, we will have on the carcass ATB tattoo, and by the way, we are able to know if the pig is treated or not. And by observing the green tag, either if it's square green tag or circle green tag, we can make the difference between free antibiotics from birth and free antibiotics after 42 days old. Then we have document which has to be recorded by the farmers in order to have traceability. So for farmers who get the COOPERL suite application, they can record treatment on those apps. So for all the people who were there yesterday, I explained that it's not like what we expected. So farmers are not all using this application, but in all case, they have to record data on paper, and all treatment, all antibiotic treatment have to be recorded. And we ask, of course, the farmers to record the individual number of the tag. So it means that you will have a tag with an individual number, and you have to write over there the pigs with the number 001 have been treated this day with this molecule and for this tag. Then we ask also to the farmers to know at real time where are the treated animals on the farm, so that the reason why just over there you have the number of ATB tattoo pigs which has to be recorded. So we have to know that in this room, in this pen, we have 2, 3, 4, 10 animals with ATB in order to keep the traceability. So it can be done also on paper, or it can be done on our app. And then, as soon as you will send your pigs to the slaughterhouse, so of course you have to get ATB. Your premium is maintained, but you have to, we ask the farmers to record on the paper which is coming with the pigs to the slaughterhouse, the number of pigs with treatment, in order for the slaughterhouse to be ready to read those pigs and to say, yes, okay, we will get 10 pigs with antibiotics treatment from this farm, and we are ready to receive them. Then, if we want that our farmers keep going on stopping antibiotic treatment, we have to support them to improve their situation. And if we do that, we make for every farm, every trimester, sorry, I put semester, but it's trimester, every 3 months, we send to each farmer a complete assessment of the situation of each farm regarding antibiotic-free production. So I took those document of 2 farms yesterday. So it's a document from 2014 for the first trimester. So you have here a situation of a farm. So you have the evolution of ALEA, of the average of the group of COOPERL, and then here the situation of the farm. So you see here it's quite a good farm, and at the end we put some colors, so everything is on green for this farm. For this other farm, we see over there that by the past he has an ALEA above the limit of COOPERL, and he had some alert saying probably that he has too much treatment. And in this case, we will try to identify what could be the problem, and we will send some technician and some vet to try to make better the situation. What is also important is to have a complete report about respiratory clinical signs. So Jean-Noël explained you this morning that we have for each farm some assessment of lung directly on slaughterhouse, and it's what you see on the pig. And you have on the right part the report received by the farmers showing that what's the status of lung, what's the status of nose, and what's the status of liver. If we follow the traceability until slaughterhouse, in slaughterhouse, we can have some carcass which can be discarded. So these discarded carcass, they are not selected if the pigs cannot be transported. If you don't have any individual identification readable, so if your tattoo is not good, we will not include the pigs and we will discard the carcass. If you have some discarded either carcass or part of the carcass by the vet service, so in this case, all the pig will be discarded from the antibiotics-free production. And of course, if you have pigs treated with antibiotics treatment, it's also discarded. So you have here from 2021 to 2023, the evolution of the labeled carcass on antibiotic-free production. So you see we are between 90 and 95% of the carcass which are kept. Sorry, yeah, not discarded, which are kept. So almost 5 to 7% which are discarded. If we are looking at of the reason of discarded carcass, the first reason is in pink over there is about collective treatment. You have a collective treatment most of the time in post-weaning unit, and so you will have some discarded carcass between, let's say, 4 and 6% of the carcass. Then it's because of individual treatment, so individual treatment out of collective treatment, and so it's close to 3%. And finally, by a lack of traceability, it's close to 1%. As soon as you have those carcass, we have to really explain to the consumer what's the concept, and I told you that was more about communication and explanation. How we did that? First step, we make some communication directly on our product on supermarkets. So you have here some product from two brands of COOPERL, Brusselian and Madrange, and what we do directly on the pack is pigs rise without any antibiotics, pigs rise without any antibiotics. Second step is to explain in detail on our website the challenge and the way we are producing those pigs. So you have here on COOPERL website an explanation, and on Brusselian website, consumer can ask question about the subject, and we have a part where we are answering the question of the consumer. Then we also work with our customer and with media to explain the concept. So you have here some of our customer, Carrefour, Pomona, and here was with the French TV, where we make some movie, where we make some docs to explain what we are doing, when we rear some pigs rise without any antibiotics. And final final step, what we have to summarize is that antibiotic resistance is a world challenge, and especially in France, but we make lots of progress. We have around 70% of our COOPERL farm under antibiotic-free production. We manage this by premium on all pigs, by an assessment of farm, very, very important, and by traceability and improvement plan. What we can say is that farmers are in fact top performers, so they are happy to be on this stuff. For consumer, explanation and communication. In the future, what we plan, of course, is to integrate this antibiotics-free production on a more global label on CSR, corporate social responsibility label. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm ready to answer your question if you have some.
Thank you very much, Arnaud.